Hi, Andy XL back on another NFL Sunday for another one of my NFXL podcasts. This is a preview of week 4. I've already previewed the first 2 games, nailed the Thursday night game, even got the score correct. I've already done a preview for the Dublin game, so go back to that podcast for this, but this will just be looking at the Sunday games. So after a quick drink of coffee, clear the throat, let's get started. Washington Commanders at Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, the Commanders are without Jaden Daniels. They also lost Austin Eckler for the season. Now they're without Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown on offense as well. And Brandon Coleman is not fully healthy either. For Atlanta, their only serious loss is AJ Terrell at cornerback. But given that Washington have lost a couple of receivers, that might be less damaging. The Commanders managed to win without Daniels at quarterback last week, as Marcus Mariota did a fine job of subbing for him. On the flip side, the Falcons laid an absolute egg in getting blanked to 30 by the Carolina Panthers. That puts the Commanders on 2-1 and the Falcons 1-2 for the season. But with the Commanders trying to stay in touch with the Eagles and the Falcons trying to gain ground in what looks like it will be a wild card race for them, both teams badly need a win here. Daniel's sprained knee means he'll miss a second game in a row, which takes away some of the Commanders' threat on the ground. Although it was worth noting Mariota had 40 rushing yards and a touchdown against the Raiders. So rookie Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, and indeed Deebo Samuel will offer a hybrid running committee threat for the Commanders. And as they have been far more effective on the ground than through the air this season, they will likely lean on that part of their offense against the offense, especially now McLaurin and Brown are out. Defensively, the Commanders have been much better against the run than the pass, and that is good for them as the Falcons have been far better on the ground than through the air, largely down to the excellence of Bijan Robinson. And with Michael Penix coming off a 3-pick game, they'll need Robinson to be at his very best to get a win here. With their depleted offense, red zone efficiency is going to be the key for the Commanders if they are to get a win in Atlanta. And that could be their downfall here, as I can see them struggling to punch it in on the ground. So we'll go for a narrow Falcons win here by 20-19. Right, the New Orleans Saints at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are still without Ed Oliver and Mike Milano on their D-line. New Orleans will be missing Dylan Raduns on their O-line and Chase Young on the edge. So Raduns kind of but limits the loss of Oliver and Milano for the Bills. So with the 0-3 Saints travelling to take on the 3-0 Bills, this has the look of what should be an easy win for the Bills. The Bills will be stronger on defense than the Saints can cope with for this game offensively. The Saints O-line needs to get fully healthy too. Apart from Raduns, they've got other injuries that they're trying to manage there. So it could be a long night for Spencer Rattler. And the Bills have to be one of the most certain teams to win in week 4. Not going to go into a detail, but it's all there for you to see. The Bills should win this by a country mile, and I've got it by 34-14. Cleveland Browns at Detroit Lions. Obviously, Detroit have already lost Marcus Davenport from their edge rushing career. They've got Zach Cunningham and Daniel Thomas as other injury concerns. For Cleveland, defensive tackle Mike Hall is out for this one. The Lions will love the Browns for beating the Packers last season, and the Browns have that D line that, when it's fully healthy and fully firing, can trouble any team. So this will be another good test for the Lions O-line, which was outstanding against the Ravens in week 3. The Browns have conceded 27 points in 2 home games, but 41 on the road in Baltimore. So I know that's Baltimore, but they look like a different proposition at home and to away this season. And given the range and depth of offensive power the Lions have, and the Browns averaging just over 15 points a game on offense, the Lions will surely overpower the Browns in this one. They've bounced back from their week 1 loss to the Packers, and after their superb performance and win in Baltimore, look like the team to beat in the NFC North, maybe the NFC full stop. And I'll go for another Easy win for the Lions here by 34-13. Carolina Panthers at New England Patriots. Injury-wise, um, guard Jared Wilson for New England. He's going to be out for this one, and they've got Onwenu and Chasen at linebacker that are questionable as well. So that could be key as to what goes on here for the Panthers. Patrick Jones and DJ Wonnum are out. As is Xavier Legette at wide receiver and Jatavian Sanders the tight end. So it's 2-1 and 2 teams meeting the type of game both need to win if they're convinced anybody, including themselves, that they have any realistic postseason hopes. The Pats lost one they should have won, but for countless fumbles against the Steelers in week 3, whereas in contrast, the Panthers routed the Falcons for the first win of the season. The Panthers are far from great in all areas, but they are particularly poor against the pass, which is the strength of the Patriots as is their run defense. The question for the Pats is, can you find some consistency and avoid those errors that proved costly last week? If they can, they should win this one. Look for Drake May to lead the Pats to a win here. So I'll go 27-20 for New England. Right. Los Angeles Chargers at New York Giants. Some more injury lists here. Chauncey Golston, offensive outside linebacker, Raheem Roches, the defensive tackle. Tyrone Tracy, the running back, and Graham Gano, the kicker. The New York Giants injuries. For the Chargers, obviously they've lost Khalil Mack. Elijah Molden is questionable at cornerback, as is the centre Bradley Bozeman. That could be a key one because they're already without Mickey Becton at guard. So if they lose another one from the interior of the D-line, that could change the outlook of this game. Particularly as Najee Harris has already gone down at running back. Will Disley's also going to miss this one at tight end. All the talk, though, will be about Jackson Dart making his first start at quarterback for the Giants. But as I said pre-season and since, I don't think it really matters who plays quarterback behind an O-line that cannot protect them. So, let's see what Dart does. Let's give him every chance. Maybe he turns it around in 1 week. But to me, I don't think it's going to change the picture greatly because of that O-line. The Giants have injuries on the defensive side, as to a lesser extent do the Chargers. And like I said, they've now lost Harris, so Amari and Hampton's going to step up, which is where that O-line comes back in. Like I say, if Bozeman struggles in this game or doesn't manage to play the full game, they will be without 2 of their interior linemen. That could really restrict them on the running game. But the Chargers have been good in all areas except run defense this season. So as long as the Giants don't suddenly get going as a rushing team, they should be all right. The Giants have not been good in any area apart from deep bombs in that game against the inept Cowboys defense. I'm going to go for another drink. This is Sunday morning throat. So this should be a comfortable win for the Chargers. Because if they do struggle to do it on the ground, I can see, the receiving core's been doing well and Herbert's been playing really well. So they'll still have enough. So they should get a comfortable win here to maintain their perfect start to the season and inflict another defeat on the winless Giants. I'm going for the Chargers by 27-20 in New York. Right, Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2 more unbeaten teams here. For Philadelphia, Adoree Jackson's out at cornerback, but Tampa Bay's list of injuries, they're actually, Cody Mork and Luke Goedeke on the offensive line. Tristan Wirfs is still questionable. He has to play in this game, really. Mike Evans is now gone with a hamstring for a few weeks. Chris Godwin might be back at wide receiver. They're still without Jalen McMillan there. Khalid Kancey's gone for the season at edge. Logan Hall and Christian Izien are struggling for this one on the defensive side as well. So such a long and significant injuries there. But something you're going to have to give here is, not to mention Baker Mayfield is not certain to play in this game either. Something he's going to have to give here is 2-3-0 teams meet. The Eagles have been winning but not looking back to the best. The Bucs have pulled off 3 late wins despite that spate of injuries. The Bucs have defied that plague of injuries to get to 3-0, but desperately need to get some of these players back if they're to maintain their winning run, not just this week, but beyond this week. At full strength, I would have taken the upstart Bucks to beat the Eagles, as they've done in 2 of their last 3 meetings between these two teams. If they can get Wirfs and Godwin back for this game, they could still pull off a victory here. But I have to go with the Eagles, given the injury situation, who will have all their main offensive weapons available to them for this game. So I'm going for the Eagles to win in Tampa by 27-20. But, fully healthy, I would have gone for the Bucks, but that's not the case. Right, Tennessee Titans at Houston Texans. Houston will be without Derek Stingley. Tennessee will be without J.C. Latham and Kevin, right tackle, and Kevin Winston, the safety. Looks like he's going to miss as well. From the sublime to the ridiculous, as the winless Titans and Texans meet, the sublime being the Bucks and Eagles, and the Titans and Texans being both winless. Somebody has to win it, basically. The Titans have yet to score more than 20 points in a game and rank towards the bottom of the league in all areas. The Texans' top scorer this season is 19, but their defense has been pretty good. So I fancy the Texans to restrict the Titans more than the Titans will be able to contain the Texans. So I expect the Texans' pass rush to be the decisive factor here in what could be a low-scoring game, as neither team can run the ball. So Houston 20-16 is what I'm saying for, basically get the Texans on the board and condemn the Titans to looking forward to the 2026 draft. Right, the Sunday late games. Sorry, I'm going to go for another coffee. Indianapolis Colts at Los Angeles Rams. Devontae Adams is a question mark for this game. Rob Havenstein is going to be out, I think, on the O-line. For Indianapolis, Alec Pierce has failed to beat the concussion protocols. Matt Goncalves at right guard is out, and so as is nickelback Kenny Moore. So this is a real test of the Colts' postseason aspirations as they seek to get win number 4 on the road to the Rams, who are 2-1 after a narrow loss in Philly last week. I think that Pierce injury could be significant here. The Rams are a really good team. Excuse me. Ranking close to or in the top 10 in the league for all areas on offense and defense for the season to date. The Colts have been a revelation thus far, but do have relative weaknesses in terms of getting and conceding passing touchdowns. So they may need to rely on Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones getting in the end zone on the ground in this one, and they may have issues keeping the likes of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, if healthy, out of the end zone. I'm taking the Rams to win this one for the reasons specified, as I think the Rams will be more red zone efficient than the Colts in this game. But if Jones or Taylor has a big game in this one, they could really boost their MVP candidatures. But as I say, I'm going to go for the Rams, 24-19. Jacksonville at San Fran. Jacksonville, Wyatt Milam on the O-line and is out, and De'Ami Brown at wide receiver is questionable. They'll need Brown if they're going to have a chance in this one, I think. But the 49ers do have multiple injuries. They're a bit like the Bucks, but for the 49ers, it's just second season in a row. So their injuries. Brock Purdy looks like he's going to be back. Mac Jones, he's going to be back up at best if healthy. George Kittle's out. Brandon Ayuk is still out. Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings are trending towards playing, but both hurt. Nick Bosa's out. CJ West is out. And Renaldo Green's questionable at cornerback. So the Jags have somehow managed to get to 2-1 despite not looking good at all. The 49ers have done really well to get to 3-0 considering their injury woes, particularly on offense. With Purdy back, they will look to do their passing game, which has been their offensive strength so far this season, despite the injury issues. Christian McCaffrey actually has more yards receiving than rushing, and Ricky Pearsall has carried the load for them so far. So they want him healthy for this one. Stats-wise, the ground game has been the Jags' strength on offense and defense, and they will look to pound it on the ground here. Oh, excuse me, I cannot get my throat clear. Doesn't like doing mornings. I should have explained the bed shut. throat surgery in the past, but long story. Um, so let's go over that again. Stats-wise, the ground game has been the Jags' strength on offense and defense, and they will look to pound it on the ground here too, in all likelihood. But can they get TDs against a stingy 49ers D that's giving up 16 points a game? I doubt it, and can see the 49ers grounding out another ugly win here by 20-16 is my prediction. Right, marquee game of the week probably. Baltimore Ravens at Kansas City Chiefs. Um, Rashee Rice still out for the Chiefs, as is Mike Danner on the edge. For Baltimore, key things here is Madubuike still out, and now Broderick Washington's gone down at defensive tackle as well. Now without Carl Van Noy on the edge, and fullback Patrick Carr is going to miss this one as well. So this is, as I say, this is the marquee AFC matchup between the two best franchises in this conference this decade. Sorry, Bills fans. Both, however, are 1-2 after 3 weeks. So one of these powerhouses will fall to 3-1 after week 4. The Chiefs may be the team who can least afford to lose this one, given how good the Chargers are looking in the AFC West. The Ravens could get away with losing here, but they won't be looking to. As after Joe Burrow going down, none of the other 3 AFC teams look likely to go beyond the 9-10 win mark this season. So there's some slack there for the Ravens, but they need to get going. Not that they will be thinking about losing this one. As I say, they played fairly well against the Lions, well enough to win most games they are involved in this season. The Chiefs have been carried by Pat Mahomes almost single-handedly so far this season, but need to fire on offense to keep pace with the Ravens, who basically score 30 points in or more in every game so far this season. Both teams may get some of their absent players back for this one, but as I say, with Madubuike and Washington out for the Ravens, that will make it easier for the Chiefs on the ground, and they get Xavier Worthy back to help the passing game too. The Ravens are near last for passing and rush defense this season. Now, they have faced both the Bills and Lions' high-powered offenses short-handed in the opening week, so that contributes towards that. They're not as bad as that appears, but it's still a fact. Long and short of this one is the Ravens score 30 every week, so the Chiefs are going to have to get up to those levels, having not scored more than 22 in a game this season. But with Worthy back and the Ravens D-line struggling, I'm going for Mahomes and the Chiefs to be the latest team to overhaul the Ravens in the fourth quarter. 31-30 in a thriller. Another Pat Mahomes, probably a game-winning drive at the end of the game, is how I'm seeing this one. Chicago Bears at Las Vegas Raiders. Both these teams are 1-2 in the strongest division in their respective conferences. So 1-3 won't cut it in terms of winning that division. But in truth, they're both long shot wildcard candidates this season, and it's probable neither will be playing beyond week 18. But I'm just going to pause there. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry, the hazards of doing these from home. Delivery man comes to deliver you a parcel. So I'll get back to the Chicago Raiders Chicago Bears at Raiders. So as I say, both teams 1-2 and unlikely to play beyond week 18. Injury-wise, Michael Mayer is out for the Raiders at tight end, and DeCamerion Richardson is questionable at cornerback. The Bears have a reasonable long injury list this week. TJ Edwards, inside linebacker, Jalen Johnson, cornerback, Grady Jarrett on the defensive line, Darnell Wright on the offensive line. Kyler Gordon is also questionable at cornerback, Colston Loveland similarly at tight end, and DeAndre Swift is come on the questionable list at running back too. From the Raiders' point of view, with Ashton Gionta yet to establish himself in the NFL, the Raiders' offense has relied on the passing game and has averaged about 18 points a game so far this season. But the Bears have allowed over 100 yards per game on the ground and over 30 points per game to their opponents so far this season. So this could be the breakout game for Gionte for fantasy owners who have been patient with him. Don't bench him this week, you might regret it. And be a game where the Raiders can put up a good score as a result. But the Raiders themselves are giving up around 25 points per game, which is about what the Bears are averaging on offense per game. This is a game that could go either way. And in these games, I always turn to the turnovers as a possible deciding factor. Caleb Williams has thrown 1 pick this season and 6 last term. Geno Smith has 4 this season and had 15 last season for Seattle. So I'm going to take the Bears to get a big interception at some point that turns the game in their favour. But this is going to be but like I say, it's an absolute coin toss really. But you have to pick somebody. So I'm going for the Bears to get a turnover that gives them the edge, 31-30. So a high scorer there. Right, Sunday night football. Green Bay Packers at Dallas Cowboys. Right, Green Bay are without Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, a wide receiver, have been for a while. But for this one, Zach Tom's out on the offensive line, and Aaron Banks is also questionable. So that's a worry for them. Maybe not so much in this game because it's against the Dallas D, but longer term, they need to get back healthy there. They really struggled. That might have been the cause of their downfall in Cleveland. Dallas, CD Lamb is out. That's a massive loss for them, despite the fact they've now got Pickens and Tyler Booker at guard too. The Packers' bad loss to the Browns last week dropped them into a 3-way tie at the top of the NFC North. The Cowboys are 1-2 and have a defense that cannot stop other teams' passing games and are not great against the run either. The Cowboys have been better on offense though, but will be without Lamb for this game, which is massive. The Packers' O-line injuries are not likely to be a major injury against this Cowboys team. Any other team in the league, you think, oh dear, but not against this lot. And given the weakness against the pass being even greater if they lost, I was saying if Diggs or Bland were out for this game, well, they both look all right now. So Jordan Love and his receivers, this could be party time for them, as it is for any team playing Dallas, really. Without Lamb, Dallas will not be able to keep pace with the Packers. So 31-23, the Packers win in Dallas. Right. I'm going to call it that. I'll come back about the Monday night games. I'll do another one for that on Monday, closer to the games. But that's it for the Sunday games. Like I say, I'm 1 for 1 this week, and that includes getting the score correct. So I'm hoping to get back up to mid 12, 13, 14 correct that I did in week 1 and week 2 before a down week last week. So that's my preview of week 2 Sunday games. Sorry, week 4 Sunday games, losing track. See you soon.